I'm going to move on to the charting module, but I want to do it through the warehouse module. Now all of these stocks, and remember I applied a filter and a new view. This is bullish VPA flags today, and these stocks are all in groups, and the particular group that I'm looking at is the biotech group. Now these are the VPA signal conditions that were generated today, and you can see that there are 3 efforts to rise and several tests for supply and so on. Now this may not mean anything to you right now, but it will as I go forward in these videos. So the effort to rise, I can tell immediately that there was demand for this stock today. How do I know that? Because an effort to rise VPA signal tells me that there was upward price movement with volume. So if I just open the chart finally, I can look in here. Here is your VPA flag, or the VPA flag, and you can see that the volume is higher than it has been over the past several days. So that is an effort to rise. That information is over here in my chart, and it's represented by this circle on top. Now one thing I want to point out here, remember that the biotech group has been very strong over the past few weeks, and in this chart this dotted line represents the group. You can see that the biotech group, was not doing well, and it started moving up, and this line is built from all of the stocks that are in this biotech group that are trading for $5 and above. So I have a lot of information here already. I know the group's moving, and I really don't like to trade against group strength. Look back here, when this stock was moving up, the group was moving up here, and then it chopped around, didn't do much. It held up pretty well. Well, the group was going down, and now that the group's moving back up, it is moving up again. Let's go to the next one. Here is another effort to rise. You can see that the volume today, or on Friday, was heavier than it has been for several days. The effort to rise flag was generated. That information is over here again, and this stock is in more of a downtrend, but there is demand for this. It has moved up from the $108 level after this test for supply, and once again I'll get it more into the VPA flags later, but we're getting bullish signals, and it is moving along with the group. The group influence is very, very strong, and only in HGSI do you have this group line. Now the other information that you can get in the charting module is in the fundamental panel. Now remember, we're in the biotech group, which is very speculative, to say the least. But when a group gets hot, you're going to find that many stocks in that group are following the leader. Once again, another stock, the stock's in a downtrend, but it is moving up. You can see that the earnings are negative, and along with the revenue, and the EPS rank, which is very poor, is only 3. The relative strength rank is 71, but the group rank is 94. So these stocks are following what the group is doing. Now there's a lot of other information in this fundamental panel. I'm not going to go into all this right now because I want to keep these videos short, but it's amazing how much information can be found, both fundamental and technical, just by looking at a chart. Now let's go back to the warehouse. Let's go back to the third effort to rise, and I'll click on this. This stock is also in a long-term downtrend. I say that because the 200-day exponential moving average is up here, the 100 is below that, the 50 is below that, and the 18 is just going up to the 50. But look at these VPA flags that were signaling that demand was beginning to come into this stock. Then here's some negative VPA flags that went down for a few days, but once again we're getting an effort to rise. Up here again, you can see that the numbers are not good as far as the fundamentals, but that is very common, of course, in the biotech group. So back to the warehouse, let's look at one more. Here is what we call a test for supply. It's this square which is generated, and this just means that a stock came down, traded in the lower part of its range. It closed near the high of the day and more than likely was a low volume test. In other words, there wasn't a lot of selling pressure and it closed near the high. So this often indicates that a stock is going to go higher. Notice that there's not much fundamental information about this stock. So every one of these charts that I've looked at, I found very quickly just by applying a warehouse view and looking for VPA flags. This is just scratching the surface of what you can do with this software.